You will now rejoin the meeting.
Okay. You're live.
Okay, and we're live.
Are we all set?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12:01, and we'll thank you all for joining us today, and hope all of you and your families are well, and life is somewhat returning to normal. But we appreciate your continued allegiance to what we're doing at COMIDA. We've got a lot of good projects to talk about where businesses are getting back to better timing on their projects. Most of our agenda is modifications today, primarily due to COVID, and folks wanting an extension on their projects. And then we have a couple of projects that are asking for either approval of a new tenant or an increase. So we'll do that. And then we've got some items that we wanted to talk to you that Anna will present on what we're doing also with regard to the overall organization and some updates on that. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and I will ask for approval of the minutes from the meeting of May 19th.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved, and is there a second?
Second, Jay.
Okay, any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, they'll be approved as distributed then. Thank you. So Kevin, it looks like you're up first with the local labor monitoring report.
All right, good afternoon. I have the May 2020 report here. So this report covers site visits between May 1st and May 31st. During this period, we made 56 monthly site visits, 2 follow-up visits. We checked for residency with 321 workers. There were 2 non-compliant, both of those without proof of residence. As of May 31st, 2020, all sites were in compliance at the time of our inspection. We did deliver 1 new COMIDA sign. That was to Pro Impact Rochester, LLC.
Okay, any questions by the board on the local labor monitoring report? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Thanks, Kevin. Brian LaFountain.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Brian LaFountain for our exemptions report. Brian, you on the line?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so for the month of May, I processed 1 local labor exemption request. This was related to the Zweigels project. Zweigels is doing a 13,000 square foot addition to their current facility in the city of Rochester. And the exemption that they applied for was based on warranty issues. So they bought their food processing facility flooring system from a company called Duraflex. And Duraflex's warranty requires them to use specifically trained installers to install the flooring system. The closest installer was a Millennium Construction out of Niagara Falls. And that was 4 or 5 guys for 4 or 5 days for that project. So based on that warranty issue, that exemption was approved.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. Thanks very much, Brian.
Okay, have a great afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Next item is a review of our financial report. Is Greg on the line?
Yes, I am. Hi, Ann. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Greg.
Hi there. So through 5 months, again, you'll see some significant changes in some balances and numbers, but all explainable and all according to our most recent plan. Again, you'll see our cash balance is down approximately $1 million, and that's to be expected based on the assistance that we provided the MCIDC for the emergency loan program. All of our other balances in terms of, receivables and prepaids and accounts payable, all those things are pretty consistent over the last 5 months. There's nothing, unexpected in those balances, and our balance sheet still very strong. Down at the bottom shows our, revenue and expenses, both a year to date and to budget and to prior year. As you can see, again, anticipating some slower revenue months, where we are today, through 5 months. But the biggest thing is if you take out that $1 million that we paid out for the program, we're basically at a break even, and we budgeted a $4,000 profit. So we're pretty close to what we anticipated from a budgetary standpoint, but though we're not bringing in the revenue, hopefully everyone remembers we are trying to, really maintain or hold off on some expenses and sponsorships that we've had in the prior year. A lot of those sponsorships were obviously for events that haven't been happening. But again, overall, compared to budget, even with the $1 million paid out, we're pretty close to where we expected from a budgetary standpoint, based on the team's effort into managing our outflows. So again, everything else is starting to seems like pick back up here in terms of projects. So again, it'll be a little bit different, lumpier, I would say, maybe as it has been in the years past. But we'll look at that from a month to month and figure out what those next steps are if we're going to incorporate any new dollars in terms of expenses out the door. But we're waiting to see how the revenue kind of shifts here in the next couple of months and see what that looks like. So overall, again, everything expected to budget, and nothing really outside of expectations at this point.
Thanks, Greg. I think the whole team has done a great job of managing our budget, given, reduction of revenues. We have a nice offset in our expenses and spending overall to cover the downward trend. Well, hopefully it's upward, but the variance between budget and actual on revenue front. So I agree. I think it looks, given all that has been going on, it looks pretty darn fine. So we appreciate that, and everyone working on that end. Are there questions from the board on our financial report? Okay, Greg did a good job. There'll be no taking you out back for any,
Talking points, right?
Underachieving. So, okay, thank you very much. Okay, Anna, we're going to go ahead and go right into the project modifications, and the first one is Indus Lake Road.
Thank you, Anne. Indus Lake Road 2 LLC, a real estate holding company affiliated with Indus Hospitality Group, or IHG, is renovating Dollinger's Inn and Suites in the town of Sweden, New York. Plans include renovating the current 21,000 square foot hotel into a branded 40-unit Best Western Inn and Suites. The project property is contiguous to a distressed census tract. The project was approved by the board in February of 2020 for mortgage recording tax exemption, sales tax exemption on construction materials, furniture, and fixtures, and the Jobs Plus property tax abatement on the increase in assessment due to renovation. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2020, as the project had to slow down due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, thanks, Anna. So this is an extension on the sales tax exemption through December. I beg your pardon?
I think it was just
feedback. Pardon?
I think it was just feedback on the line.
Okay. Right. So this is an extension on the sales tax exemption through December 31, and I will ask for a motion to approve that extension. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, this is Red.
Okay, thank you, Rhett. And is there a second?
Roy, second.
I'll second it, Lisa.
I think Troy got in there first, Lisa. So thank you. Any additional comments, questions on the motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, if not, motion carries. Thank you. The next item is 337 University City Living. Anna?
Did you want me to read the resolution on the previous, or was there a motion to not read the resolution?
I'm sorry, I skipped right over that. Is there, I guess I might as well go ahead and go ahead and read through the resolution.
A regular meeting of the County of Monroe Industrial Development Agency was held at the agency's offices at 50 West Main Street, Suite 1150, Rochester, New York, 14614.
Make a motion to waive the reading for the current and future modifications.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Troy. Any additional comments, questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, thank you. 337 University City Living.
337 University City Living LLC, or University, a real estate holding company, is redeveloping 337, 345 University Ave in the city of Rochester. The property located on University Ave between Union and Alexander Streets has been vacant since late 2017. University is creating 8 apartments, one of which will be affordable and ADA accessible, as well as 41 climate-controlled self-storage units in the basement. The project was approved by the board in February of 2019 for mortgage recording tax exemption, sales tax exemption on construction materials, furniture, and fixtures, and the Job Plus property tax abatement on the increase in assessment due to renovation. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2020, as the project has experienced delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on this modification? We're looking for an extension on the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2020. Hearing no questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Troy motions.
Thank you, Troy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lisa. Any additional comments, questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is Buckingham Properties. Anna?
Thank you. Buckingham Properties LLC, or Buckingham, a commercial real estate and development company, is modernizing and renovating an existing 49,000 square foot commercial office building in the city of Rochester. The new anchor tenant is Calero Software LLC. The project was approved by the board in January of 2020 for sales tax exemption on construction materials and the Job Plus property tax abatement on the $1.4 million building investment. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2021, as the project has experienced delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic and is still in progress.
Thank you. I meant to also thank Rachel for sending all of us ownership information on all of the projects just to refresh our memories. And that was, I think, very helpful. Hopefully everyone did see that. If there's any questions on ownership. Okay, any questions from the board on anything else on Buckingham Properties? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the extension on the sales tax exemption through June 30, 2021.
So moved. Rhett?
Okay, thank you, Rhett. Is there a second?
I'll second, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Any additional comments, questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Calero Software LLC.
Thank you.
Anna?
Calero Software LLC is the new tenant in a building being renovated by Buckingham Properties LLC in the city of Rochester. The project was approved by the board in January of 2020 for sales tax exemption on materials, furniture, fixtures, and equipment purchases on the $850,000 investment. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2020, as the project has experienced delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, questions on this? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption to December 31, 2020.
Troy motion.
Thank you, Troy.
Jay seconds.
Thank you, Jay. Any additional comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion carried. Thank you. This is an efficient meeting. All right. Next item is, Anna, is Workplace Interiors.
Thank you. Workplace Interiors LLC is a commercial distributor of office furniture and related services for business, healthcare facilities, educational institutions, and government. Workplace Interiors is consolidating its office and warehouse to one location in the city of Rochester. The project was approved by the board in December of 2019 for sales tax exemption on construction materials, furniture, fixtures, and equipment purchases on the $1 million investment. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2020, as the project has experienced delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this project? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2020.
Lisa makes the motion.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
Jay seconds.
I think Rhett beat you, Jay. Thank you, Rhett. Any additional comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carried. Thank you very much. All right, SPS Medical Supply Corp.
SPS Medical Supply Corp, or SPS, is a manufacturer of biological indicators, chemical indicators, and other products used to monitor sterilization of medical equipment. The company is constructing a 100,000 square foot addition to their 38,000 square foot facility in the town of Henrietta. The project was approved by the board in November of 2018 for the enhanced Jobs Plus property tax abatement, as well as sales tax exemption on construction materials, furniture, and fixtures on the $18 million investment. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2021, as the project has experienced delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay. It's a significant investment, certainly. Any questions from the board on SDS medical supplies? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30, 2021.
So moved, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second?
Troy, second.
Joyce, thank you for your second. Any additional comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Riverwood Tech Campus. Anna?
Thank you. Riverwood Tech Campus LLC is redeveloping the former Kodak Marketing Education Center in the town of Henrietta. The project received board approval in October of 2015 for a custom property tax abatement as well as sales and mortgage recording tax exemption. The project was approved for an extension on the sales tax exemption in 2019, as well as a $21.9 million increase in project costs in November of 2019. The applicant is seeking an extension of that sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2021, as the project is still under construction.
Okay. This too is a significant investment. Okay. Any questions? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the Riverwood Tech Campus modification.
So moved, Rhett.
Thank you, Rhett. Is there a second?
Second, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Any additional comments on the motion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carried. All right, the next one is Panorama Landing. Yes, we're asking for a motion on approving a new tenant and increase and an extension on the time. So, Anna?
Thank you. Panorama Landing
Joining the
LLC.
meeting.
Kurt Sertle.
Panorama Landing LLC, a Galena real estate development company, received board approval in April 2016 for a $9,935,000 redevelopment project of the former Washington Drive-In Theater site in the town of Pittsford. The approximately 21-acre site is being developed into a new business park with 5 single-story office buildings. In November of 2018, Panorama Landing received a renewal of the sales tax exemption on the remainder of Phase 1 as the approval had expired. The applicant is seeking an increase in the mortgage recording tax exemption to $2,800,000, which results in mortgage recording tax savings of $21,000 and an extension of the sales exemption through June 30th, 2021, as the project continues to build out. In addition, the project is seeking approval for a new tenant, Whitney and Company, a financial services company.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Kurt Sertle has joined. He's the director of leasing. Kurt, are there any additional comments that you would like to make on this project modification?
Hi, everybody. Kurt Sertle here. Thank you for your time. Just want to give you an update on what's going on at the project. The first building, the 955 Panoramic building, that's the sheriff's substation. That's up and financed and put to bed. Not part of this application. So this application is for 957 and 959 Panorama Landing, which are each 24,000 square foot single tenant, not single tenant, but single story office buildings. Those are the additional buildings in phase one. Right now, 957 is about 40% leased, and 959 is going to be about 60% leased when Whitney and Company moves in. Unfortunately, the first tenant in 959, which is U of R, would not go into 957. They insisted on going into the building across the street. So since it's U of R, we agreed to build the building across the street and put them in that. So what we're looking to do is group those two buildings together from a mortgage standpoint, put a $2.8 million base mortgage on those two buildings, and then as we lease the rest of those buildings up, hopefully over the next 12 months or so, we will put a second mortgage on those and put those to bed, and then we'll move into phase two.
Do you feel comfortable, Kurt, with potential tenants for the space once you complete the office buildings?
I will say this project has been slower than we would have liked out of the box, and with the whole virus thing that we're all dealing with, I think that's kind of a difficult question to answer. I would hope that we would have this put to bed within 12 months, but just being honest, I do have some reservations just because we just don't know how the market's going to go here over the next 12 months.
There are a lot of unknowns at this point, that's for sure.
Right.
But this is certainly a significant project, and we appreciate that you're moving forward. Are there questions from the board on this modification for Panorama Landing?
Hey, Kurt, this is Jay Copley. I have a question about the mortgage, the increase in the mortgage. In looking at the revision sheet that you provided, it looks like you're taking an additional $1.75 million out of equity and moving that to bank financing. Am I reading that right? That looks like kind of a cash out.
That's correct. We've generally our operation, our modus operandi is we build the buildings out of pocket, and then when we get to a point where we can put the financing on, we then do that. So that is, with this $2.8 million, we will be paying back some of our equity that's in those two buildings.
So it is a cash out.
It's not a cash out. No.
Well, you are taking it out of equity, right?
It's financing. The buildings have not been financed. The buildings are built out of pocket.
Right, but you were building it out of equity. Now you're looking to put a mortgage against the equity, and basically, cash that. It is somewhat of a cash out.
I wouldn't call that a cash out in the what I would consider to be the term of a cash out. This is a permanent financing facility that's going on the building.
Okay, I guess I don't necessarily see it that way, but okay.
Are there other questions?
Help me out, Troy. This is Troy. So on the tax exemption of the 696, so how do we come to that number?
I'm sorry, Troy.
Well, if the applicant is getting increase in the mortgage recording tax exemption of $696,000.
That's the number.
So that increase was because the two, what was it? The 957 and the 9.
Troy, this is Rachel. The summary sheet had a slight error on it. That's that 696,000. The increase in the mortgage amount is 1.7 million, and so it's a $2.8 million mortgage, resulting in $21,000 of savings. We think that 696 might have been a holdover from a prior summary.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, Troy, I don't have that summary sheet in front of me, so.
So for the board, the original approval was for a mortgage of just over $1 million. The applicant is not closed on that mortgage, and the savings under that original approval were $7,800. This mortgage, as we all know, is for 2.8, and the resulting savings being 21,000, so roughly a $12,000 increase in savings.
Is it 12 or 21?
Well, they were already approved for 7,800, so the difference between 21 and 21,000 and 7,800.
Okay, so the amount that we're approving is the mortgage in the amount of 2.8 million and a resulting savings in the mortgage recording tax of what is the amount of the savings?
The total amount of savings on for the mortgage recording tax would be 21,000. The board previously approved 7,800.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on this? Thank you, Rachel.
Sure.
Rachel, is it going to be possible to send out the updated information that we have as reference?
Yeah, yes, this is Robin. I'm going to do it right now, and I apologize for not catching that last night.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, requests? If not, I will ask for, there's two motions on this. The first motion is to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption to June 30, 2021, and Whitney Company as the new tenant. Is there a motion?
So moved, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second?
Second, Red.
Seconded, Lisa.
Brett, thank you. Any additional questions on this motion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Curtis, for coming in or
And
joining us on the line today. Yes?
there's the second motion on the mortgage.
Oh, yeah, right. Second motion. Thank you, Rachel. You
Sure.
keep me honest. The second motion is to approve the mortgage in the amount of 2.8 million, resulting in a mortgage recording tax savings of 21,000. I'll ask for a motion on that. Joy, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, Lisa.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Any additional comments, questions on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Joining the meeting. Aye.
Rob Moyer.
Aye.
Opposed?
Jay opposes.
Okay, any abstentions? And Ann is an aye. So I believe the motion carries, right,
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kurt, for joining us today. It's always helpful to have the lead person working on the project to be here to answer our questions. So, thank you, and continued success to you. That's a very big project.
Pleasure.
Okay, the next item is Context Solutions. And Anna, I'll bring it back to you.
Thank you. Context Solutions, founded in 1995, is an information technology company that specializes in the implementation of enterprise resource planning, or ERP systems, for manufacturers, IT managed services, and cloud hosting and backup. Through 65 Elm Grove Park LLC, a related entity, Context Solutions is renovating a building in the town of Gates. The applicant is seeking an increase in the sales tax exemption in the amount of $90,000 on furniture and fixtures to accommodate future growth.
Okay, has Robert Moyer joined us, the president?
Yes, I have.
Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you being here. Are there any additional comments that you'd like to make on this modification for Context?
Well, just as the explanation was read, it's really around furniture and fixtures. The original estimate that we had was just that. It was an estimate, and as we got in and started having things quoted, and we're trying to build out for future expansion, so we want to make sure that we're purchasing the right furniture now, make sure it all matches, because we don't want to add things later. So it's really around adding the space to have the 80 or 90 or so people in that facility. Construction is getting close to complete. We're hoping to move in end of July, and really that's all I wanted to add.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board on this project? No additional questions? Okay, I will ask for a motion to approve an increase in project costs in the amount of $90,000 for Context Solutions LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved, Rhett.
Did I hear Troy and Rhett for a first and second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions on this? Yeah, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much, and thank you, Rob, for joining us today, and continued success with you on wrapping up this project.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay. I think that takes us to the end of our modifications for today, and at this point, Anna is going to, our executive director, is going to review several discussion items with us on, first is for rebooting
Joining
Monroe
the meeting.
and taking a look at how we can propose to do well in the future, expand on some of our initiatives, change some of our initiatives, but through a proposal with TGR that will be reviewed for us today. We'll also talk about the Monroe County Emergency Small Business Support Program, an intern position, and we'll have an update on the 10 program. So Anna, do you want to kick us off on the Reboot Monroe proposal?
Thank you, Ann. And I also want to recognize Erica Rosenberg has joined the call. She is the president and CEO of CGR. Just for some background, I was asked prior to the Finger Lakes region entering phase 1 of reopening by the county executive to explore ways for us to initiate a reopening plan in advance of a pursuit of a comprehensive plan overall for the county. As you're aware, Adam Bello came to this board and spoke about his desire to initiate a comprehensive plan this year, renewing one that hadn't been updated since 1972. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, that larger plan had to be put on the back burner until likely next year, if not later this year. And so we decided that we wanted to take a look internally at Monroe County operations and identify opportunities for us to improve our service delivery and make adjustments to our structures in such a way that would better serve the workforce, residents, and businesses of Monroe County in the new reality that we find ourselves in as we move through phase 3, enter phase 4, hopefully pursue a post-COVID world. And what made the most sense for us was to reach out to CGR. The Center for Governmental Research was established in the early 20th century by George Eastman as the Bureau of Municipal Research to work specifically with the city of Rochester and Monroe County to help improve operations at that time. And since then, over 100 years later, CGR has become a best-in-class consulting nonprofit working with municipal governments all over the United States, but in particular here in New York State. And the organization brings a great deal of expertise as to how counties and municipalities and IDAs in New York can improve their operations. The Department of Planning and Development and the IDA and the IDC, this structure has been in place for a long time. The only material changes that have really taken place over the last, I guess, couple of decades have been really reduction in resources, reduction in staffing. Our revenue streams have grown through the IDA and the IDC, but we really believe that there's a way for us to maximize our efficiency and look at best practices in other parts of the state and other parts of the county as to how other economic development organizations are functioning and adopt those ideas into our practices such that we can best address the needs of our businesses and improve the economy post-COVID. And CGR they're our neighbor. They're located right down the street here on Main Street. And they came to us with a proposal for a summer engagement under the amount of $20,000. And I circulated the updated revised proposal just prior to this meeting. So I apologize for my tardiness in circulating that with you, but it should be in your email inboxes. And with that, I'd like to turn to Erica Rosenberg to ask for her input and insights. Erica has spoken to myself and other members of our team to develop an understanding of what our needs are at this time, and she can speak to CGR's capabilities and their proposal.
Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for joining us,
Okay,
Erica.
good. Oh, I'm happy to be here with you guys on the phone, and thanks so much for the opportunity to work together on this potential proposal. So we basically did a call with Anna and some members of her team to better understand the needs that they see to take sort of a fresh look at the county's economic development and workforce development operation. It's a good time for us to engage with you all on this. We just completed a separate project for the Rochester Chamber, doing a scan of workforce development efforts throughout our community and sort of looking at how they focus their efforts differently for different populations and what kind of results they get, and sort of the bigger question about how that whole sector might be more effective. And it was interesting because that piece of work was done right before coronavirus struck, so it's all kind of you know, the status quo back in the before time, I guess we call it sometimes now. So it helped us to really get a good understanding of that landscape. And I think even though everything has kind of been turned upside down since then, it's a good launching pad for us to work with you on this project, looking at, again, the county's role with workforce development and with economic development in general. So the revised proposal that hopefully you got a little bit of a chance to look at sort of describes the process that we would use. And it includes all the pieces I think you would expect to see, sort of a document review to understand operations and budgets, internal interviews with leaders within the county, and then also the key external partners you see listed there, which would be in the workforce development and the economic development universe here in the county. And then a little bit of looking outside of the county to you know, benchmark operations a bit and look at potential best practices in other counties, and then synthesizing all that information and developing the specific recommendations you all are looking for, I think, around structure, programs, practices, efficiency, how to track your progress, and options for use of city place space. So we would be staffing this project with me kind of playing an overall oversight role, but really the project would be carried out with our two staff members who are listed in the proposal. Dr. Kent Gardner, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. He's been former president of CGR, and then leading our economics practice for years. And Kieran Mazilla, who's relatively new to us as a research associate, but completed the work for the workforce development scan that I just described, so is really kind of already immersed himself in this area. That's who would be staffing the project. And I think Anna spoke very nicely about CGI and our capabilities, and hopefully most of you are familiar with us, but we do a lot of this type of work for local governments across New York State and beyond in terms of looking at operations, looking at best practices, doing some comparative analysis, and really trying to, you know, bring the best of what we have here in Monroe County, which is obviously what we care most about, to other places, and also to learn from those other places and bring what we've learned there here. So I think this hits right in our sweet spot. I think we do a really good job for you. I'm happy to respond to questions.
So this is Ann. Thanks for joining us, Erica. So I think what we're talking about will be, because some of us haven't actually seen the revised copy before the meeting, and I think this is what Anna was reviewing with me. The document that we received talked about engagement 1 and 2, and 1 was more focused on community development. What we're talking about today is engagement 2, which is economic and workforce development, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's with the project cost of $18,700.
Yes, I think we're looking at a total project cost of $20,000. Anna asked us to include a piece of the engagement 1, the grants research, in with this piece. So I think we're looking at a total of 20.
For both, not the community development, but more. I see. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully that's.
Anna, do you want to expand on that?
Certainly. So the original proposal was phase 1 engagement was to focus on community development planning and our PTAC program, and we felt that the priority in the short summer months that we have to accomplish the project, our priority should be on our economic development programming, MCIDC and COMIDA operations, our workforce development programs, as well as identification of the highest and best use of the city place business center, which is still pretty brand new, and the pursuit of research of grant opportunities for our department, especially the planning department, as they look to launch that larger comprehensive plan looking ahead into 2021. So I just asked for sort of a a repackaging of the original proposal such that it entailed one engagement, and then we can come back to the drawing board afterwards and talk about next steps once we have an action plan established, hopefully by September, if the CGR team is able to work with us on that.
Okay, and so the amount is 20,000
That's correct.
for the, yeah. Do we need a motion on that?
Yes, we do.
We do, that's what I thought. Okay, how about questions? Erica, we're excited about this. We really look forward to taking a fresh look at all that we're doing in the local economy and with regard to workforce development. There are always better, more efficient ways of doing things. And we appreciate Anna working with you on this to sort of enlighten us on what some of those other options might be. So, are there any questions from the board for Erica? Or
yes,
Anna?
this is Red. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Erica, would you be able to tell me how much the COVID-19 landscape changes, that some may be temporary, some may be more permanent and long-lasting, will be addressed in your research?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, I think they would be strongly addressed in the research, right? It's funny, every proposal that I get that we're making to clients at CGR, I'm saying, you know, let's talk about COVID-19. I mean, I just think it's kind of upended the universe in ways we couldn't imagine before. So yes, I think that's going to be a critical piece. You know, when we had written that initial workforce development report that I described earlier, we were talking about a situation of near full employment. Obviously, that's just turned on its head. So many people are out of work, so many small businesses are struggling and, you know, potentially going out of business. So yes, the search for best practices is not necessarily going to be able to uncover, I don't think at this point, what you would call a best practice in relation to COVID-19 recovery, because everybody's working on that at the same time. But it certainly will be a topic of conversation in every one of the interviews that we do in terms of eliciting people thinking about it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions for Erica or Anna? Okay, I will ask for a motion then to approve the $20,000 expenditure with CGR as we look at assessing our economic and workforce development opportunities. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion, Red.
Red, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other questions on the motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thanks so much for joining us today, Erica, and we look forward to working with you on this and finding some magical solutions out there.
We'll do our best. Very happy to be working with you all. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Erica.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all for being in support of this project. It's definitely something the county executive is eager to pursue, as this is his first year in office, and we want this department and the two boards, the work that we do, to be reflective of this administration's visions and priorities. And of course, we're in the midst of a global economic crisis, so now is the best time for us to roll up our sleeves and figure out how we can improve our performance. The next item on the agenda is an update on the Monroe County Emergency Small Business Support Program. Thus far, I'm very proud of loans in the amount of, in total, we've covered $1.97 million, and we've provided loans to more than 200 businesses because, or excuse me, it's 1.957 million. And we've executed on loans to over 200 businesses because a handful of applicants requested less than $10,000. And primarily these are retail businesses, restaurants and salons and other service providers. An anecdote that I brought up in our prep call last week was about a retail store, a record store that had applied for the loan and is using it as we move through phase 3 as working capital to reopen to customers. And now that we are looking ahead to tentatively June 26th to enter phase 4, many of these businesses are going to be eager to reopen to their customers, and the capital that we provided them with is going a long way to help them reopen successfully. We are planning to canvass and survey these loan recipients to find out how they're doing, how did they use the funds, identify positive stories that we can then share hopefully with the county executive's office. But again, I appreciate the support of this board in helping to fund this loan program in partnership with the IDC. And I want to commend also Lydia Burr and her team, Robin Finnerty, Rachel Barinello, and Allison Clark, of course, Greg. We had a lot of support. It was an all hands on deck effort. We started pretty early, March 26th. We closed the program on May 29th. So received a total of 461 applications. And Lydia was giving us an update this morning that she's noticing on average that many of them have fewer than 5 employees. So these are small, very small businesses, micro enterprises that many of them otherwise wouldn't have received a PPP or an EIDL loan. So with that, I just want to again convey my gratitude and let me know if you have questions.
Yeah, thank you, Anna and Lydia. My goodness, that's what, you've got 2 applications in for every, there were 200 businesses, but 461 applications to wade through. That's impressive. An impressive amount of work.
We're still cranking them out bit by bit. Some applicants haven't received their checks quite yet, but they're in process.
Okay, great. Congratulations on a terrific effort on that. We're making a difference, in a difficult time. So right down to the smallest of businesses. So.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Next up is discussion of our intern position. Amy Sepulveda is our intern. She's paid through COMIDA. She works approximately 20 hours a week at a rate of $12 an hour, and she her contract with us was running up at the end of June, and we approached her to see if she would be interested in working with us, extending that contract for an additional 6 months, and she said absolutely yes. And she's been tremendously helpful in supporting staff efforts to perform functions like data entry, website updates, customer relations. She's really a jack of all trades, so we've been delighted to have her. So, and we would be asking for a motion to approve the extension of our contract with Amy for an additional 6 months.
Okay. Great. Any questions by the board? All right. I'll ask for a motion to approve the intern position up to 15 hours per week at $12 per hour through December 31, 2020.
So moved, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second?
Right.
That right? Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. 10 program. Anna, do you want to
Thank
give us
you.
some background on this?
We are happy to have Jean Case with us here today to report on an update on the 10 program. We circulated in board packet materials an update that Jean provided, so you have that in writing. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to Jean.
Hello, everyone. With the Entrepreneurs Network, I am grateful that you have the two-page summary that I put together after my conversation with Anna and Allison on Friday to understand what information would be most useful to you in understanding what we've done in the past with our economic metrics and what is happening in 2020. We are currently, and feel free to interrupt if you have specific questions, we currently are underway with our COVID-19 impact program. This is an outreach effort to our 10 alumni in response to the alumni survey that we had conducted between February and the first week of April. And in that survey, the input that we were getting, and 93 out of our 439 entrepreneurs had responded. 52% said their businesses were in jeopardy, 10% were actively seeking help, and another 38% said that they were starting to make some adaptations. This was happening concurrently with us launching what would have been class 28 for the spring cohort of the Entrepreneurs Network. And what we were finding is that recruitment process was not as robust as it typically is. And it was in early April when I had the opportunity to regroup with Anna and Allison on a Zoom meeting. And basically my recommendation was, in the same way that angel investors and VCs were doubling down in this crisis with their portfolio companies, I thought our efforts would be best served doubling down and supporting the over 400 alumni that the program had served to date. So that's been the course of our action since April. I've recruited members, consultants to work with me on this COVID-19 response team. As of this week, we will have served 6 companies. Our goal is to serve at least 10. And the framework that we were working within was to help provide our CEOs with an objective sounding board to help them evaluate their cash flow, their cash position, so they could not only survive the crisis, but also thrive on the other side. We are using dollars that we would have spent on 10 boot camp with instructors, program materials, and catering, and that's the budget allocation that we're using for this new effort.
Okay, thanks for your update, Jean. Are there any questions from the board?
Hey, Jean, this is a quick question. For the, it's my understanding that the firms that participate in the boot camp, they provide a portion of the fee, right? Is that correct?
That is normally how we operate, where the companies would pay a membership fee once they are approved to be part of the program. With this new initiative, we are not charging a fee to the companies. And that was a conversation I had with Anna before we launched, that we really wanted to make this resource available free of charge to best support our companies during this crisis, because it's the first of its kind. It's not only an economic downturn, but the global pandemic and the public health crisis is affecting our companies and their employees in a way that many of them have never experienced, none of us have experienced in our lifetime.
Yeah, no question about that. And can you give a sense on the 6 you know, the companies that you're reaching out to, like, have they reached out to you? Did you reach out to them? Are they the larger companies, the smaller companies? Are they all over the map? Any industry in particular?
So as the consultants that I'm working with, as we were framing up this new initiative, we looked first to those alumni who put their hand up in our annual survey and said, yes, I'm struggling, my business is in jeopardy, I'm actively seeking help. And those were the companies that we were responding to with the new initiative. We also prioritized companies that were in the market today, they had revenues and had employees. So we were working to try to maximize our impact by helping employers with the most employees as a starting point in terms of how we are reaching out to people.
Got it. Thank you.
Other questions?
I have a comment, and
Yeah.
Jean, I think that I like the change in what you're doing this spring, because it certainly goes along with our small business support program. And I think that it just shows that that in crisis, we're willing to help. So I think you're to be commended for going in this direction.
Thank you for that feedback.
Any other comments, questions for Jean or Anna? Okay, Jean, thanks very much for being with us today. Anna, do you have any other items?
And this is Rachel. Anna had to leave for a meeting with the county executive.
Well, okay. I thought it was a little quiet there. All right. Anything else that she might have wanted to bring up, Rachel? And that's all I had on my agenda.
That was all she had.
Okay. And I don't have any further discussion items. Do any of the members of the board have any new business that they'd like to bring up? If not, thanks again for joining us. Our next meeting will be July 21, 2020 at noon, and we'll let you know where that might happen, if it does happen live or if we end up doing a teleconference again. So thanks to all of you for joining us today, and I'll ask for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second? Okay, Troy, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, thanks to the staff too for putting together these terrific agendas for us with all the detail that we need to make